Hey, how's it going? Josh here from Books by Josh, and this is episode number 73 of the Books by Josh audio immersion. This episode is titled, When Should Outsourcing Stop? Let's begin. What is outsourcing? Outsourcing is when you hire someone who's normally not in the same country to do a job. Not going to get into the whole politics of bringing jobs back to America or anything like that, because there are some benefits to outsourcing, but there are a lot of downsides too. So let's discuss them. Why do companies outsource? Number one, cost. They don't have to pay someone who lives in a different country as much as they have to pay someone in their home country. So in the United States, each state has a minimum wage. For example, New York, where I am, New York City, New York State, the minimum wage for New York City is $15 an hour. So if you're to hire someone, no matter if it's to work in McDonald's, work for Google, wherever, the minimum you can pay them as an hourly employee is $15 an hour. So if you have a call center in New York, each employee has to make minimum $15 an hour. Whereas if you go to a low-cost country, like the Philippines, for example, where cost of living is much lower, the workers there maybe make $5 an hour. It's usually less than that, but this is just an example. Because, hey, if you can pay them that and that's a livable wage over there, wouldn't you do that rather than pay 15? And guess what? On top of the 15, you might offer benefits such as healthcare, dental, vision, life insurance, paid leave, such as PTO, also sick time, personal time off, and 401k or retirement matching. All that adds up. And guess what? There's also something called unemployment insurance. So if that employee makes it 6 months and then gets laid off, as long as it's not for a violation of policies, things like that, they would receive unemployment that you're technically paying for. So guess what? This are some of the main reasons why people outsource businesses, because of the cost of labor and all the benefits tied to it. A good friend of mine, for his job, reached out and had a meeting with the CEO, CFO, and COO regarding his department, what he does. And he wanted to branch off and have his own division that did the same job at a cheaper rate. And they got into good talks, but the only reason that never came into fruition is because the pandemic happened. But it was possible he was going to become a contractor for his position, and they, in the future, would have eliminated that position from the company because of the cost. When it's a commission-based position with a decent salary, plus all the benefits and all of that. So with my friend, he was going to do commission only. You eat based on what you produce. You don't sell, you don't eat, basically. Eat means make money. So that's another reason why, because of commissions. Commission are a bulk of salesmen's paychecks. So if you can outsource it, and these workers will get just a base salary in these lower cost of living countries, they'll be more than happy to do it. It's like why there's warehouses in China and things like that, other than no labor laws, things like that, but the cost of labor is so cheap, which is why Apple, Samsung, well, not really Samsung, but Apple, Foxconn, most of the big tech manufacturers have plants in China because of labor costs. Keep costs down, because the lower the costs and the more you charge, the more profits. Win-win? No, because there can be issues. Other than quality assurance, things like that, normal in any business, the type of issues rely on servicemen. So I did say earlier, outsourcing can be outside the country, but it can also be in the country as well. You can have a cable company who outsources their technicians. And guess what? if the technicians are outsourced, they're more likely not to show up, not to do a good job, and just walk away. I've heard some horror stories from friends, families, coworkers, things like that, where they give you like a 4 hour window. Technician comes and guess what? Oh, sorry, I don't have the equipment. Or they say, oh, let me go get something from the truck, and they just walk away. It's they're contract based, so they just put customer in our home, things like that, and they get paid for the job, so they don't care. And you call the company, and the company's like, it shows that you weren't there. I'm there. I was there. Blah blah blah. Unfortunately, it's a he said she said issue, and that causes service cancellations, things like that. But it's like I have a story, personal story here. 2 years ago, when I upgraded to my iPhone 12 Pro Max, I called AT&T. I swapped the SIM card. I worked in cellular for over 10 years, and I called up to update my IMEI on file because for my account type, they changed the site. They used the my AT&T app instead of the old portal, so it wouldn't allow me to do it. So I called them up. I want to make sure my IMEI is the right one because if I ever have to do insurance claim, I want to get back a phone that I have now, the older model. So I call. I have someone. I can tell he's not from the U.S., but it doesn't matter to me. He's doing his job. I say I want to update my IMEI. I don't want to change anything. Don't put me as I bought this phone from you guys. No, just update my IMEI. Bought this from Apple. It's unlocked. I just want to have the correct IMEI on file. Okay, no problem. It takes him like 30, 40 minutes, which is a long time, but I'm like, he might be new. Okay, no problem. He does it, and I take a look on my app, and it shows iPhone 12 Pro Max. I say, okay, thank you. So about a week, two later, I get the bill, and my bill's up in price because of proration, and he changed my plan from the highest tier one, the unlimited elite, whatever that I have, to a different plan with way less bang for your buck and also costs more. And I called back. I guess when I explained the situation, hey, I called to update my IMEI. If you look here, I changed my plan so I made sure I have 5G and things like that. Back in September when the phone was announced, it was delayed until October for that year. So I was getting the phone. I made sure I was on the right plan so I didn't have any problems. So they gave me a credit for that, for the prorated amount, and changed my plan back to what I had as a back date. But the whole thing is it should never have gone to that. So that's one of the problems. The reps aren't fully trained. When they work in a call center overseas, it's a revolving door. I've heard stories from people who worked in industries and call centers and know more about this where they have one area of the city. So like think of Main Street in your local city or town where you have all skyscrapers, office buildings. And guess what? Each floor is a different call center. So if the person gets fired, you know what they do? They go down to the next floor. You hiring? Okay, not go to the next floor. You understand? Or go across the street. They're all call centers. So it's a revolving door. And they don't train them as much because the supervisors or the managers, owners, whatever, they know, hey, this person isn't going to last. We just need a body on the phone. We're going to pay them whatever the rate is, and we just need them on the phone. We're going to tell them, hey, this is what you do. Here's the script. Have fun. Even in my job right now, I get calls from people that don't know what they're doing. I help them out because it's one company, But the whole thing is, it hurts the customer experience because a customer has to call back multiple times to the same company, and the answers change each time. Then when they get someone competent, they go, no, but this person told me that. Well, unfortunately, that's not correct. You have to explain the correct procedures, and it just shouldn't be that way because we should train all workers equally if possible because it shouldn't be that in-home workers from the country that were trained in the office, things like that, know how to do A through Z, and this company that you brought on to do the same exact job, just overseas, to help out with the influx of calls or whatever. Only know how to do A, B, and D, not even C, And it creates callbacks. It costs you more money in the long run because you have to pay for the reps that have to fix this. Like in the case with the technician, you have to eventually get an in-home tech out there. And it's just how frustrated the customer is, how many credits you have to give them so that they can be happy from their experience. Or most of these people are quitting. That's why the whole cord cutting thing is happening, because they're fed up with cable companies. Prices, customer service, locked in contracts, they're done. That's why in Tech with Josh, I talked about the T-Mobile Home 5G Internet Starlink, how it's changing the industry. And that's the whole thing. This is 2022, about to be 2023. I remember 5 years ago, different things you can do then. But now everything work from home, everything's remote. And a lot of people are living abroad because it's cheaper and are still American citizens, so they're getting paid the American wage for their company. I have a friend that's going to Turkey to work for his company, got it okay from the job, because you're no longer tied down to your country, per se, for certain jobs. And that's the whole thing. Is it really outsourcing anymore? Is it needed? For the pricing, you can't beat it. But I've even outsourced before on like Fiverr. That's technically outsourcing. I had someone do logo designs for me. I had them do book cover for me. I had someone write something for me. And you get what you pay for, honestly. If you cheap out, you're not going to get the best thing. Even if you pay top tier, it might not be the best. All depends on the worker. So you can't have a generalization. Say, oh no, all outsourcing is bad. No. Because you might get someone who's just amazing at what they do. Because it's not based on where they're from. It's based on how they're trained, their mindset, things like that. So that's the other thing. Banks have been outsourcing for how long? Through the automated system. Cell phone carriers. Hi, how can I help you today? I'm an automated system. I can respond to 4 answers. Even texting bots. If you text Apple, you get a bot. You put in your information, things like that, or Verizon, whatever. You text them. It's all bots in the beginning, and then when they can't help you, they'll get you connected with a live agent. But it's automation. We outsource overseas, which is fine in some cases, but at a certain point, when you're losing more customers because of it, that's when it has to stop. Because the problem is you're outsourcing to the wrong type of employees. Because you have to manage them more closely than your own. Because they are your front line. Customer service, things like that, that's your front line. And no matter how good your product is, if the support is horrible and the experience, no one's going to want it. And that's basically it for this episode. If you liked it, stick around for the next one. If you want to hear more, check the catalog of other episodes, or check out Tech with Josh. TK for Tech. I can spell, I just like the K. But yeah, take care. See you guys in the next one.